we were talking about before the stream, you know.
Yeah, sure. Just give me the signal
Yeah,
and
true.
I wait, I'm here.
And we are live. Officially, we are live. So we are now on the live on the Facebook. Where is my phone? Yeah, I have my phone in my pocket because I wanted to send you the link on WhatsApp, maybe.
Just send me the
Or
link.
Facebook is okay. Yeah.
Facebook. Okay,
Yeah.
then I will do it.
Because you can see the comments if you want to see it. Also, I need to share it also with the people.
Actually, I follow your page, so I just the post just appeared.
That's actually quite convenient.
Yes.
So I don't have to send it to you because like it's easier to manage a single medium, you know, like when I'm using Facebook, it's easier for me to just go through the Facebook, you know. But like going in and then going out for the Facebook, blah blah blah, it's yeah. So welcome to you. Welcome to our anime podcast, Anime Aikoka. That's the name of our group, and our this kind of program or this kind of podcast, we just call it Aikoka Life, just because, you know. So like we can wait a little bit until people start coming, like, because people is still like they still receiving notification about that we started the live. So maybe afterward, like, you know, maybe after, like, when people start showing up, maybe like
Right.
if someone join us, just write in the comments, we can get notification that people are starting showing up. Once there is enough people, we can start like properly start. But maybe until then, you can like give us like sort of a small introduction about you.
Well, I don't know how much you have said already about me, but
Not that much.
okay, then for those of you who don't know or are just streaming right now, I'm Alejandra. I come from Mexico. I'm currently living in Germany, and I have been into anime and manga for a very long time since I was a child. And there was a gap in between when I just started studying that I just didn't have any time anymore for anime or manga, and I just stopped directly. But now I'm taking on again, watching anime, reading manga again. I take it as my relaxed time now. But
And also,
yeah,
you are
it's
also
been
like
lots of years.
you are even learning Japanese now.
Yes, I also started learning Japanese for 3 years now. Yeah. And one of the reasons was, of course, my love for anime.
Yeah. Um, and also like you went to Japan, actually. You visited Japan before.
Yes, I was in Japan, but
Lucky you.
yes, I mean, I was not able to go as a tourist. I went there, I went to Okinawa
Mm.
for a week, but I was not able to, I just had one free day in that during that trip because I went to do some interviews, something related with my academics. So I just didn't get to see much and do much, but I think I saw so many things that I could consider maybe culture shocks.
Mm. Like for me, you know, like I like traveling, so like I actually would love the idea of just going out to some other country just to do some projects, you know. I know
Well,
like
also.
it's not a trip, because like, for example, my father used to travel for his own kind of work as well, and because of that, like he will spend a lot of time outside, but like it's mostly meetings and something like that, like you know,
I
like
don't really get to enjoy anything.
yeah, exactly. Like I don't know whether I told you or not, but like you know, I went to the past to Trier in Germany, you know, and we almost had no time to do anything. We just 6 hours meeting, you know. So like it was quite really annoying and really boring, to be honest.
Well, of course, you don't get to visit or see anything at all.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what happened to me when I went to Japan. I went mostly for professional reasons and not really to enjoy and visit.
But actually it's quite interesting, like, you know, like because for a lot of anime fans, like going to Japan even for a short period is sort of a dream, you know, to
It
some
was,
degree.
yes.
Like
I was taking pictures like everywhere, and I even the only free day I had in which I went to the city, I used to speak Japanese as much as possible and trying to read everything and understand everything.
um 1 second, because like I think maybe there is a problem in the sound. Oh yeah, 1 second, maybe there is, yep, maybe there is I think maybe there is a delay or sort of an echo, maybe because I'm using NDI, you know, NDI.
I think I may know what's the problem. I think I miss because I'm not using headphones right now, so maybe that will help so that it
Yeah,
doesn't have the echo.
I will just explain in Arabic. Okay. Hey, what's up? Welcome again. I will try. Okay. Yeah. Everything is back on. Let's try to see whether the stream is working again or not. I'm not sure whether it's working or not. If anyone catch it, maybe they should tell me. Yeah, we are back. So
yes, and everything all right, the sound and everything.
I need to check with them about the sound, because you know there is around like 20-second delay between what we say and what they saw, you know. So if there is any problem with it, then maybe I need to start like a brand new, because I continue in the same stream. Like I didn't open a new one, so it is the same stream. Maybe it would be better to start a new one. I'm not sure yet. I'm just trying to check what is going on around. What could be the reason for the lagging? Why it's lagging? Like it's normal to lag, but like I think my internet is not good today. Straight up, my internet is not good today. Maybe
that's weird, because yesterday was working pretty well.
Like yeah, that's what I don't understand actually.
And technically, if yours doesn't work, mine shouldn't work either, since we're in the same city.
Yeah, like, but the thing is, like, you are also in a private house, right?
Yeah.
Let me check with them whether it's working now or not. I will just try to explain to them in Arabic what's going on. معلش يا شباب، المشاكل التقنية دي بتحصل في العادي، معلش. احنا النت عندي وحش النهارده، فمش عارف ايه المشكله، بس خلينا نشوف كده هنعرف نظبط ولا لا. ما عرفش يظبط، هضطر ابدا لايف جديد غالبا. So someone tell me it's better now, so maybe we can go a little bit ahead if it's not good working. Actually I might try something. I will try something in the background to see whether it's a good idea or not, because I am using NDI source, which is it capture your feedback and it put it directly inside the um, the stream, you know. So maybe I'm not sure. Maybe it could be a reason for lagging. Let's try the normal window capture and see whether the normal window capture is a better technique or not. Okay, and okay, let's see. I will try to do something, but I'm not sure. Okay, so yeah, so back to the stream and see whether everything is going fine or not. Okay, so maybe we should wait a little bit until like we make sure that everything is fine. I have no idea why it's bad like this today. It's normally like it's not the first time like I do it, and yesterday it was working fine in our trial. So
But
that's
it's not the first time that you do this like by yourself.
yeah, it's not the first time. Like we actually did it like 2 weeks ago with a famous singer, and like it actually worked fine. Like there was no lagging, nothing. But as I told you, maybe today is my internet is not nice. So that could be the reason for that. Okay. Hopefully everything is fine. I think people are caught up.
Okay.
I just need to make some mentions for the people who want to watch, so they will get like a notification that we started the live. Basically,
Okay.
maybe can you do or in this case redo your introduction again, but like but more of like what are you doing, for example, like you are in Germany, for example, what are you doing, you know?
Okay, well, I came to Germany like more than a year ago. I came to do the master in physics here, and I am currently doing my master thesis right now, so just a semester more until I graduate.
Yeah, same with me, sort of. Yeah, as well.
Yeah, we made on hiking trips.
It was actually the bowling before the hiking trips. We met in the bowling.
Oh, true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. It wasn't the bowling activity then, and then we met a lot of times in the hiking.
Yeah, exactly. I am just trying to check how to do a watch party. I'm trying to do watch party in the group, so everyone in the group can also see it. You know, you gotta hate this kind of technicalities. Like, I really hate this kind of technicalities.
I don't know how you do it. I will just get
Yeah.
stressed out.
Yeah, it just it's normal. Like, it's normal. It's not the first time, and probably wouldn't be the last time. You know, it just happens. But we just hope that the people are patient with us.
Have patience.
Yeah, please have some patience. معلش يا شباب اصبروا شوية على ما نظبط الدنيا. وإن شاء الله يعني الدنيا تظبط يعني قبل ما ندخل في التوبيك. But you have time, right?
Yes, right now I have time. Doesn't matter.
Hopefully everything will work fine as quick as we hope, so we don't need to extend the time a little bit, stretch the time a little bit. So if there is anything else you want to mention before we start, I suppose that we restart.
Well, what did I mention before? That I mean, I have been watching anime since I was a child. I started learning Japanese since already 3 years ago. And one of the reasons was, of course, Japanese anime, but also the anime brought me closer to the culture and food. Which
By the way, what is your level in Japanese?
Right
Just out
now,
of curiosity.
Right now, I think it's I'm taking the B1.2 courses, which will be kind of the equivalent to N3 level of Japanese, perhaps.
I have no idea how is the ranking work, but I just wanted to
Well,
ask.
you ask it.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how the ranking system works in Japanese. Like, is it like B1 in German, for example?
Uh, well, there's a European level of languages,
Mm-hmm.
which is A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2.
Yeah.
But in Japanese, they have another kind of leveling system, which goes from N5, which is the lowest,
Mm.
and N1, which is the highest.
Yeah.
So in the European one, I am ending B1.
Yeah. Uh,
Mhm.
okay. So it's in interrupting again, but hopefully it will work this time. Hopefully, like the stream is a little bit interrupted, but
Oh, and thank you for the ones that wrote good luck with your thesis. Thank you.
yeah,
I need
that's
it.
Yasin. Yeah, he's one of our colleagues. He always
Mhm.
help us with this kind of streams from the behind the curtain.
Mhm.
This kind of things behind the curtain.
Yeah, the
Uh,
guy behind the shadows,
yeah,
working,
like
pulling the strings.
he's actually one of the people who wrote the question. Like he didn't translate them like some other person. Like I think Amr was the one who translated the questions to English, but he was
Mhm.
one of the people who wrote it, and like he made the Google sheet where the one I sent you, which has the questions.
Mhm. Yeah, sorry guys, I don't know
Yeah,
Arabic.
it's okay.
There are a lot of dialects, so it's not that easy.
Actually, it is the same dialect. Like if you there is a standard dialect which is
Mhm.
everyone can understand, but the differences are more like the difference between, like, for example, the British accent and the American accent.
Or different words that you use, perhaps. So there's kind of like a standard Arabic that can get you by
Yeah,
anywhere.
exactly. Like there is a standard Arabic where you will get by with everyone. Even in
Mhm.
some accents, there is a standard accent. Like for example, for Syrian accent, they have like this kind of sort of official accent. So
Mhm.
like anyone can understand whether you are from Syria or not. The same way with Egypt as well, we have sort of a standard accent. So like
Mhm.
anyone from all over the world can just, I mean, everyone who speaks Arabic can understand us.
Mhm.
So maybe you should everyone is telling me that the stream is working till now. So
Okay.
maybe we should jump ahead to the questions.
Yeah, we
Maybe.
can start now, finally.
Yeah. So what was the first anime you watched, by the way? Can you remember
Whew.
this?
Okay, so I was a child watching television, and the anime that was in television at that time, the one I was crazy about was Pokemon, of course.
Ah, yeah.
Yes, I was so crazy about that anime. I had almost like an altar of stuff of Pikachu and other Pokemons and toys and stuff and cards and everything of Pokemon. I was obsessed.
Hmm. Like they Pokemon was the very standard of anime. The very, I would say it might be the one of the first international animes. Like sometimes you don't even need to understand Japanese to watch it. You know?
Yeah, I guess some people even watch it without noticing that it was anime.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It was a kind of anime that brought everyone together.
By the way, do you have like this kind of frustration with people who switch the word anime with the word cartoon? Does it get in your nerve, or you don't care about it?
Um, it kind of nourished me, but
Hmm.
I understand since, I mean, in itself is a cartoon, so to
Yeah.
say, but it's just that we define it as anime when it comes from Japan. But there are very few cartoons
Mm.
themselves which I will put them in the same category as anime, because anime, I
Yeah.
think it has a great variety of stories and characters and even drawing styles.
Mm.
As in cartoons are normally related with kid stuff and very simple plot lines. You cannot compare them actually.
Mm.
There are very few cartoons which you say, okay, this really can compete with an anime, for example.
I will start recording maybe the stream just in case, so I will have another copy without any interruption.
Mm-hmm.
So like if anyone who's watching now online have problem online, maybe the copy I'm making would be better when I put it on YouTube or something like that, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so like what are the popular animes in Mexico? Like that's something also, like
Ooh.
because like our stories with anime, or like most of the Arabic people who watched anime, they started from like, you know, like a specific channel. There is a specific channel which called Space Tune, that was sort of the first Arabic channel that podcast anime, you know, like officially, like real, like, you know, continuously, like not 24 hour but mostly 24 hour, you know. It's of course it was not 24 hour because you have to go to bed by 10, you know. So this kind was our starter. So in Mexico, what was the starter back of anime in Mexico, for example?
Well, you may have heard, if you know a little bit about American television, you may have heard about Cartoon Network.
Yeah, of course.
So in Cartoon Network, they started streaming, well, putting this anime like Pokemon, Dragon Ball, and some others, Sakura Card Captors.
You are talking about the Toonami box, right?
Exactly, the Toonami.
Yeah.
And there was also another channel which was called Fox Kids. I don't know if you have heard about it.
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
exist
I think
anymore.
that's the one that broadcasted Digimon.
Exactly, Digimon.
Yeah.
And some others that I don't remember anymore.
Yeah, of course. I for us, this kind of they call it the European satellite because it was not available for the people who are in the Middle East. So not everyone got access to this kind of podcasts or channels. You know, like not every channel you get access to. Like, for example, there was this kind of local. We have local kind of satellite that cover the Middle East, Arab satellite, and Arabsat. It was called Arabsat, and Nilesat, which was Egyptian one, but it became sort of the official Arab like sat. And nowadays, like, you get access to everything, but like when we were kids, we only get access to Arabic channels. You know,
yeah,
if you want
at
to
that
get
time
access
it was
to
more
Europeans,
difficult.
you need to have a European satellite. You know. But for you, I guess, like, so Mexico got something after all from being, you know, near to America, you know.
Well, I think local television, I mean, you had to pay extra to get those extra channels.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have the money to pay extra, then you will just watch the local TV, which didn't show any anime at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, for like, of course, nowadays it's something that's very sort of affordable with the streaming service and
Well,
everything.
right now, yeah.
Like everyone, I know a lot of people who have Netflix, for example, you know. And like we were even talking about it yesterday. You were thinking about like a Crunchyroll, you know, to have an account Crunchyroll, which is I guess now Crunchyroll is also affordable to some degree, you know.
Well, if you're already paying for Netflix and Amazon Prime
or
any other, then it's like, well, why not pay for Crunchyroll? But then again, not all the anime that you want is going to be there, and there are other platforms apart from Crunchyroll. So Crunchyroll is not the only one.
Yeah, and actually, like, that's one of the questions actually we had, like, because, you know, in most of the Arabic countries, we watch pirated anime. Like, we don't watch, like, of course, you know.
Yeah, who doesn't?
yeah, like that was the question also for, like, in Mexico, do you do that? Of course you do, but, you know, like.
Of course. But I mean, we have a good advantage that many of the popular animes are already in television, and there was, not right now, but there was when I was a teenager, there was this channel that was called Animex, and there was 24/7 just anime in that channel. But of course, it's very common practice to just find torrents or illegal streaming from anime. I think it's a very normal thing.
Maybe it will be also a good thing to tell the people, like, so they will understand what is your taste in anime. For example, like, what is your favorite animes, maybe.
Okay, so I don't have like a favorite anime of all time, but I have a list of animes, and one of them you're going to say, oh yeah, the same as always. But I mean, Naruto was a great part of my childhood. I mean, I think most of the people that love Naruto is not because it's a perfect anime, which is not. It has a lot of flaws. But you got to grow with Naruto all the way since he was a child until he became Hokage. Spoiler alert. But
that's like a spoiler for Boruto, you know.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, you had like some kind of attachment because you started watching or reading the manga since you were very little, and then until you were an adult, you saw the conclusion to that story. So it is very close to you, and that's why Naruto is on my top list. Another one which I found is kind of underrated and not much known is Blood Plus.
Mm.
I don't know if some of you know it.
Is it like a horror? Is it like a horror anime or something like that?
It's not actually horror. Of course, there are some monsters and kill people, but I think the story is more kind of like human and what we're supposed to do, like our objectives in life. It has a very nice story. I like the plot of it, the history and the characters. The music actually is composed by Mark Mancina and Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer.
So I think you all know Hans Zimmer from all the movies.
Yeah. Really?
Yes.
But why Hans Zimmer? Hans Zimmer made an OSTs for an anime?
Yes.
I never heard that before. That's the first time. But
yeah, so the soundtrack of that anime is wonderful. It's perfect, and it shows that it comes from the genius of Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, of course.
And it's actually kind of short. It's just 50 episodes, and the ending just makes me cry all the time.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a very nice anime. Another one that I really like, it's not an anime but a manga. I mean, I didn't watch the anime for this one because it's incomplete. The manga is Claymore.
Okay.
Which is kind of a medieval kind of style. Of course, there are monsters and sword fighting, which I find great. The art is amazing. It's the most beautiful art I have seen in manga.
I heard of it, but I never watched actually. But you said like the anime is not complete, so probably I will not watch it. You know.
The anime didn't catch up with the manga, so they ended it. They created an ending and that's it. So it didn't follow the manga all till the end. So if you're interested in Claymore, I will recommend just reading the manga.
That's it happened with me, but this anime is different. It's Panadora Box, if you know it.
I know it. Yeah. I read the first few chapters of the manga.
I read actually the whole manga. I read the whole manga of Panadora Box. Surprisingly, like I read all of it, even though like I'm not a manga reader generally. Like I don't read manga, you know. But yeah. So the second question is, which is a little bit on the nose, but like I have to ask it. What is the perfect anime for you? Like the anime that you found no mistakes in, for example.
Like in general, or a perfect anime that I know?
In general, maybe, or someone one you know, for example.
Well, I like it when an anime. Well, most of the animes come from mangas, and manga, for example, the people that are creating it, they're just creating the story along with it, and it shows. For example, in Naruto, you see all the faults in all the plot holes, and storylines that don't really fit with one another.
And actually, the more you grew up, the more you start like picking it apart, you know.
Exactly. So I really like it when the plot makes sense, when it's very well structured. And I also appreciate when an anime has a world building, so the author creates a whole world and a story within it. I like it when you can really immerse yourself in that world. Well, like one of the most recent anime that I think feels this thing I said is Attack on Titan, I think.
It has a lot of followers, actually. A lot of fans.
So the story from the very beginning, you see that it is consistent, it makes sense, and then when all the revelations happen along the seasons and the episodes, you see, oh, okay, it makes sense. It's not something just out of the nowhere. You're just well structured just from the very beginning, from the very first episode. Everything was well planned, and it just creates more world building, and I think that's great. It just makes the story more rich.
You are not reading the Attack on Titan current running manga, right?
Excuse me?
You are not reading the manga of Attack on Titan currently, right?
Yes, I'm currently up to date with the Attack on Titan manga.
And you think it's still good?
Well, some years ago when it all started, when the Attack on Titan manga started, I started reading the first chapters, and it didn't really captivate me at all. I found the art style very annoying. And
For Attack on Titan, you thought it's annoying.
the first few chapters of Attack on Titan. So I was not really captivated by it, so I stopped. That was like 10 years ago, maybe, perhaps. And then recently this year, a few months ago, a friend of mine recommended me the anime. Like, really insisted on me watching it. So I started watching it with him. And I really saw a big difference between the anime and the manga. Even though the manga didn't captivate me from the first few chapters, the anime got me the first episode. It was maybe the animation, the music, but everything combined together that they could make the manga chapters much, much better in animation. And then I went back to the manga when I finished all the 3 seasons of Attack on Titan and continued reading it, and I started enjoying it because I knew the story already, the characters, so it was easier to read, and also the art style was a little bit better than before.
What is your favorite genre of anime? What is your favorite genre?
I will say seinen and shonen.
Okay. But this is more of I'm actually now a little bit confused because like genre normally is associated with kind of, you know, action, comedy, drama, you know.
Okay, well, I like
kind of
thriller or psychological ones, but I also like action ones. I think most of the ones I like are action.
Yeah,
anime,
for me it's
the classical shonen
and historical ones, you know. Like these are the most of my preferences. I mean, what I like the most of kind of anime. If there is an anime you wish that it never existed, like you hope that you were like, oh God, please, why does this exist, you know?
Well, I think luckily I haven't watched any anime which makes me think that.
Like, if there was an anime that you were like, why did this exist, you know?
I have never watched an anime that I found it so dumb that I don't know why I'm watching it. But I have been many friends that have shown me maybe the first episode of a trailer of some crazy weird anime that I think, seriously, how did they think about this? Like, how did they created this? But no, I don't have really any anime in mind right now. I suppose that everyone has their own tastes, and if the anime exists, then that means people are watching it. They like it.
There is a question from Yassine. He wrote it in the comments. How do you feel about the story which goes with surreal paths? You know.
What do you mean by surreal paths?
You know, like some kind of animes that have like this kind of like, you know, like surreal ending. Like you don't know what happened at the end. Like Evangelion is a go-to anime to explain that something like that. For example, you know, like you watch the last episode and you were like, what just happened? You know, like you have no idea what's going on, but it's supposed to have like sort of like
a deep meaning.
Meaning
it's still like
kind
of like Evangelion kind of ending.
So, for example, you have did you watch Birdman?
Which one?
Birdman, the movie
No.
called Birdman. So, like this kind of movies, for example, you know, like, you know, Inception. Do you know Inception?
Yes, of course.
You know the end of Inception, for example.
Yes, I get you. Like unambiguous.
Ambiguous. This kind. Some people consider it surreal as well. You know, because it's artistic. Okay. Like, not to tell the audience what is gonna happen. You leave it to the audience and the imagination to the audience, basically. So, like, what do you think about this kind of anime? Do you like it, or do you?
Well, one part of me really appreciates this kind of ending because it adds more, I think, more depth to the story. And I think some of the very good anime with very good stories end like this. But on the other side of me, it just feels like kind of unsatisfied because one usually expects the happy or sad ending, like just easy ending that everybody wants to understand and have. But
like,
I don't know.
For me, it depends on the writing, you know, because sometimes the writing of this anime can be really good, and sometimes it's really dumb because they think it's it's deep. Okay, let's make the main character the villain the whole time, you know. But it doesn't make any sense. Like, you know, when you start watching the anime or thinking about it, it doesn't make any sense, you know.
Yeah.
So
Like for example, in some basic example, like Naruto, from all the story, you know you're going to have an easy ending. Naruto is going to become Hokage. That's going to be the ending.
yeah, it's not one of these animes that have like you know a dark ending or.
Yeah, but for example, I will expect that from Attack on Titan we're going to have a kind of surreal ending. I don't expect it to be a happy or sad one. It's going to be some kind of weird, surreal one.
And I dare say it will be a bad one.
Yes, I hope
like,
so.
You know, because the thing is, like, we discussed this before for people who watch this podcast regularly. We discussed this before that, like, some writers are sort of like have their kind of ideology, you know. So Isayama, the writer of Attack on Titan, is a little bit unrealistic, you know.
Yes, and that shows actually.
And that shows. You can tell that he's analytic just by watching Attack on Titan. So you know, so maybe like that could influence him when he's writing. You know, like I told you. I think I told you I wrote a novel before, right? Did I tell you that?
That he wrote a novel?
I wrote a novel.
Ah, you wrote a novel. Yeah, you told me.
Yeah. So like for example, when I'm writing the novel, I try to sort of like try to control myself a little bit, but I cannot control myself. Like I want to write what I want as Ahmed from the story, not what the story is supposed to be, you know. So
well, it depends on the writing style, of course.
Yeah, for example, like you know, like if you read Attack on Titan, then from the beginning, Eren is supposed to take revenge for what happened to his mother in the first episode. I'm talking about the first episode. I'm not going so far.
Spoiler alert.
That should be the direction where he goes, you know. But then
that's what you think at first.
That's what you think, and that's what normally the story will lead you to, you know. Like you know, character growth, character development, this kind of things. But with currently where Attack is going toward this kind of analytic kind of view, you know. Then everybody dies, you know.
I was actually watching this YouTube video of an analysis of Eren as a character, and they put it very, very well that Eren Yeager is a shonen character in a realistic world, in a seinen anime. So Eren starts like a typical shonen character, like, yes, I want to take revenge of my mom, and I'm going to fight and kill all the titans. Just like the typical shonen personality. That, yeah, with the power of friendship and the power of me believing, I'm going to kill them all. And then reality hits, and he can get killed too, and everyone can get killed too. So he just starts developing from this classical shonen character to a more mature character development.
Yeah, the thing is, like the thing is, when you think about it, like I understand where you get from, like you know that he is a realistic shonen character in the shonen world, but like, isn't that a little bit like you know like there is something called realism as sort of a trope, you know, like a lot of writers use like realism as sort of a trope to say, oh, my story is grimdark, that's why it's realistic, you know. But sometimes you just want to write this grimdark story, like it doesn't have to be, because you know there is always this kind of like hope, this kind of like he doesn't have to be like you know like a pretentious, you know, whiny kid to be realistic. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm trying not to spoil anything from the manga, or like trying not to mention as much as I could from the manga, but like you know like in my opinion the development of his character didn't make any sense at all, you know. After the time jump, you know, there is a time jump. I will leave it at this. I'm not gonna talk anymore about Attack on Titan.
Yeah, no more spoilers for the anime.
Yeah, that's enough talking about Attack on Titan. Maybe we go to something that a little bit like that could be interesting question. What is your favorite characters and the character you hate the most?
My favorite characters. Well, of course. Well, I think as I said, from my sentimental point of view, of course it will be Naruto. But
Mm-hmm.
from a more objective kind of way, I have always really liked like Yagami from Death Note.
Mm-hmm.
I like it because it was the first anime in which the protagonist, well, the first anime for me that I
Mm-hmm.
watched, in which the main protagonist was not the good one. Was
Yeah,
like
like he was more of antagonist actually.
exactly. So it was really like something different for me, and I really liked the development from that.
Yeah.
That it was not the usual thing, but like he was really against the system. And then the ending, I really liked that.
And what is your most hated character?
I don't have a specific hated character, but I really hate all the typical characters from anime, which are always like the typical kawaii one that is always super bubbly and kawaii. They're so annoying. And
Baka.
the tsunderes, and I hate the ones that are like the girls that I would like, senpai, tasukete kure.
Baka.
Oh, they're always like with this light voice and super timid. I hate them. They're just like, oh, come on, wake up.
You know, like I hate every tsundere character ever. Like you know,
Me too.
like stop with this like weird. What kind of relationship? You start the relationship unhealthy from the beginning. It's toxic. Get out of it. You know, like
Yes.
if your relationship is bullying each other every time because you love him, so you bully him. You are just a bad person. You're.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know, like
I guess if I have seen just one anime with a tsundere, I think that will be fine.
yeah,
But
like
it's everywhere. It's just like a standard thing, so it just gets pretty boring on
and
just like
sometimes
the
they are
same thing as
exactly a
always.
copy paste. Like
Uh-huh.
I didn't watch Neon Genesis. I didn't watch Evangelion, but like I don't know the name of the
Asuka,
character. Yeah,
Asuka is a tsundere.
and she is the most famous tsundere, and probably and a lot of tsunderes are just a copy paste of her. You know, whether it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense in the story or not. Like I didn't watch Evangelion. Maybe it makes sense. I don't know, but
No,
like
I mean you're right. You're right.
but
But
they even the character design even look the same if you focus with it, like with the big tail thing. I don't know what
mm-hmm.
is a big with the big tail. I don't understand hairstyle. So
Mm.
I don't know. Is it the big tails? I don't know. Like
The piggy tails.
yeah, this hairstyle or you know.
Yeah, I think it's a very lazy kind of character writing. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, I have to have my main protagonist, my hero, my tsundere, the timid girl, and that's it. You get it. It's just
yeah.
too repetitive.
Um, what is the most beautiful looking anime you've seen? Like
Okay, anime looking, I think it has to be Demon Slayer. I enjoyed so much looking at the fights and all the beautiful animation and the colors. It's just so very well done and animated. It's just very beautiful to look at. And as for manga, like I said, the most beautifully drawn manga is Claymore, definitely.
you know, it's we have one of our friend in our
Hmm.
team members. His name is Isam. He's probably watching this, Muhammad Isam, and like he doesn't stop talking about Demon Slayer. Like it's like causing me a headache every time I hear
Wow, it's a
him
nice,
talking
it's a
about
cute
it.
anime.
Yeah,
I
yeah, but the
like
thing
it.
is, he is obsessed with Demon Slayer, you know. So
Hmm.
like you know you know in It's a Wonderful Life, you know they say, you know there is a joke, you know the movie one It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Christmas movie, you know. They have
Nope.
like every time you hear a bell, an angel gets its wing, you know.
Hmm.
So some is like this, but with Demon Slayer. Every time Demon Slayer is mentioned, some gets his wing, you know. So like
She's like, what?
yeah, like he will pop out like Demon Slayer. I hate Demon Slayer somewhere.
So
There's a
he will probably
question.
pop up in the comments right now that we're mentioning Demon Slayer.
Yeah, probably sometime he will pop out. There is
I
actually
actually,
a lot of questions in the comments. Surprisingly,
yeah, I have seen that. I have
yeah.
seen that.
What is your opinion in um, Monster, the anime Monster? I sent it to you yesterday. Like you didn't hear of it.
Yeah, but I sadly don't know the anime. I haven't watched it, but I will put it to my watch list then.
Yeah. Hiba Yasser is asking you if there is any anime that you felt it's too dark to watch.
Hmm. Well, let me see. Well, I watched the anime Elfen Lied. I
Mm.
probably some of you know it's kind of old, but it's kind of like a classic. At the time when I watched it, I was a teenage, and I at that time I thought it was kind of dark.
Mm.
And of course, well, there are some others which maybe I cannot mention.
Yeah.
So
But if there is an anime that touch you in a bad way, like you feel sad after watching it, not because it's dark, but because it touched something that make you feel sad, you know?
well, like I mentioned at the beginning that well, Blood Plus one of my favorite animes. The ending it was one of the that made me really cry. It was you felt the whole journey with the characters, and when you see that ending, it just touches your heart. I think.
Yeah. Another comment from Heba. I think Heba is going through an emotional journey. Like the two questions are completely different. Her second
Okay,
question
okay,
is
okay.
like her first question. If there is an anime that was too dark for you, her second question is if there is any comedy anime you could suggest to us.
Oh, there's I really love this anime. It's a romantic comedy actually, but it made me laugh out loud. It's a Lovely Complex. You may know it. I actually read the manga.
Mm.
I just watched the anime afterwards, but I when I was reading the manga, I was reading and I was laughing out loud the whole time. It's very cute and funny manga. I really recommend it. I think the anime is also very good.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I hear
And One
this
Punch
name, but
Man, definitely.
One Punch Man. Yeah, One Punch Man
Okay.
is a go-to, and most of the people will tell you, "Oh, read the manga. The manga is better than the anime." Of course, they will say that.
Yeah. I
uh,
mean,
but someone told me, someone I trust told me it's quite true with One Punch Man. They say like, if you think the anime is funny, the manga
mhm.
is even 100% funnier or something like that. Maybe. Okay. Do you have a voice actor that you wanna get her signature?
I actually don't follow voice actors or actresses, so I don't really know. I don't really follow that.
For me, I don't get it, to be honest with you sometimes,
Mm-mm.
because like I don't know who is acted in what, because like
Yeah, me neither.
it is like we did with a lot of actors. We did interviews with a lot of actors also in this podcast, but Arabic speaking actors,
Mm-hmm.
and but this is an actors I grew up with. I can't distinguish their voices. But
Yes, of
to
course.
some degree, most of the Japanese actors they sound the same to some degree. Like
Yeah,
in
I don't know
specific
them
rules, like you
really.
can hear the rule. Like for example, you can hear an old man and you will like, it's either this guy or this guy or this guy. Like there is only like
Mhm.
three guys in whole Japan doing old men. Or like two guys are doing shonen protagonists. Like in all of
Yeah.
Japan, like it's always one of these guys who are doing specific characters. Like they call it typecasting. Like, oh, he is an emo. And like an edgy guy,
Mhm.
for example. So you give him like this kind of role to play. Do you read manga?
Yes. Not right now. I don't do it as much. I prefer anime because I work on my thesis, like I said before. So I just want to relax and watch something. But when I was a teenage, before starting my bachelor, I read most of it. It was just manga. I just read manga the whole time. I preferred it over the anime.
Yeah, and actually, like anime is from a realistic, not a realistic, but like it's sort of like I'm trying to figure out the illumination in my face, but
Mhm.
anyway, from a realistic point of view, or not for realistic, from like a practical point of view, it saves you more time. Like reading manga chapters takes sometimes. Focusing with them requires sometimes. Like
You
not
think
all of
so?
us have this kind of time. So like, it's faster to just watch the anime, watch an episode, 20 minutes, and just go on. Like reading chapters can take some times.
Maybe I find manga more I mean faster to read
Mm.
because I could read several chapters in 1 hour perhaps, but in 1 hour I can just watch 2 or 3 episodes of an anime.
Yeah, but the amount of content that you can get from, for example, like some episodes, it depends on the anime also, to be honest.
It also depends,
Like,
because
yeah,
sometimes they want to really space out all the
yeah,
arcs,
like
so it takes
some,
longer time and
I
more
don't know which anime
episodes.
did that, but like I think there was an anime in 1 or 2 seasons ago that
Mhm.
has one chapter for one episode. You know, that was like extremely slow. You know,
Mhm.
because they were almost caught up with the manga, so they wanted to stretch it
Yeah.
out. So they were like one chapter, a whole one episode. You know.
Yeah, those
And then
fillers,
there
I
is
hate them.
Naruto, which is filler, filler, filler,
Oh
filler,
my
filler,
god,
filler,
yeah.
filler.
That's why I read the manga.
Yeah, I actually read the manga once I caught up with, like, I was watching Naruto Shippuden at that time,
Mhm.
and once I caught up with Naruto Shippuden, I couldn't wait to watch an episode by an episode, you know, because
Mhm.
it was in the middle of the Ninja War, the fourth Ninja War,
Yeah.
and that was, in my opinion, that was like the peak of the anime, you know,
Mhm.
because that's the war, the manga, the Kajis, the Madara, you know, Toby.
Yeah.
Toby, I'm not gonna say its real name, so it wouldn't be spoiler.
Oh come on! It already ended some few years ago.
Everybody
It's not
knows
a
it.
spoiler
And Naruto
anymore.
ended years ago, but like, okay, still some people will be like, you know, don't spoil to me like that. Like, for
Naruto
example, you know,
really
like,
is like a spoiling Dragon Ball or something.
yeah, like spoiling Dragon Ball or spoiling Pokemon, you know, like everyone knows that Ash got Charizard, but don't tell me that Charmeleon evolved. Don't tell me that, like, you know.
What?
Yeah, so this kind of stuff. Yeah. If there is a anime world that you would like to live in, which one you would love to live in, for example?
Well, I don't think there is one anime I have watched and said, "Wow, I want to live in that world," because most of them are just like you have to run for your life, or they can devour you, or you can get killed, or it's
Like, I hear
horrible.
someone it was in an online stream somewhere, and someone was like, Attack on Titan, man, you imagine like you can
No,
like you can be a Titan, and I was like,
no.
did you watch the same show? Are you watching the same show with us? Like, you know,
Are you serious? It's Attack on Titan? Seriously?
like literally there is people want to kill the Titan. That's the whole show, like, you know. Titans, people want to kill the Titans, basically.
Yeah,
You know?
they will end up like Eren and just
Yeah,
dying in. Okay, come on, I don't say anything more.
yeah.
No, maybe I would like to be in the Naruto world, like they're learning some jutsus and stuff in a peace times, no war or anything, just learning some
Blah, blah, blah,
jutsus and
Tensei,
stuff,
you know.
having fun.
Any kind of
And
Tensei they play is fun.
yeah, and maybe perhaps in the Sailor Moon world, I could be a sailor and have powers. That's kind of cute.
Yeah.
Nothing bad happens.
For me, I would say Pokemon.
Definitely, yes.
That's
Traveling
an
around the
easy
world with
one
Pokemon.
with you know, with zero, like, of course, if you are like about this kind of like PETA, you know, like animal rights movement stuff, then yeah, but like, come on, it's a cartoon, it's an anime, it's not real. So I want
Yeah.
to live in Pokemon. I want to ride a Charizard and fly, you know. Like,
Yes.
which is physically it's not possible. Like, you cannot ride a Charizard and fly, because, you know, the more you get
If he lets
up,
you.
you know, of course, if it's let you, and second of all, it's a dragon or lizard, so actually the back of it, the scales, you know, is not actually like friendly to sit on, you know. It's more of like a lizard, you know.
Yeah.
So like, you wouldn't pet a lizard, you know. It's like, yeah. Okay, let's see what other question do we have. If there is a question that you like from the, I send you the sheet. If there is a specific question you like to talk about, I will just go in line in order. But like, if there is a specific question you will be like, I like this one.
No, I mean, I actually closed the tab because I said, well, he's going to choose the question,
Yeah,
so
okay,
I don't have
I'm
to look at
choosing.
them.
It's okay then. I'm choosing. There is some question from the comments. Yasin Zakaria, he was like, did you watch JoJo?
No. And I don't really feel like watching JoJo.
I don't know. Did he watch JoJo? I'm not sure, but like, JoJo is like, you know, it's JoJo. I don't know what to talk about, but JoJo is one of these animes like.
I mean, I like the memes of JoJo. I like them, but I don't watch the anime.
Yeah, for me, I watched JoJo after sort of a hiatus. Like, I stayed like a long time not watching anime. I think for maybe a year I didn't watch like like I didn't watch an anime I liked. Like I will watch an anime, for example, one day I forget about it, and for like 4 months I don't watch anything else. But JoJo was one of these animes that I started like part 3, because JoJo's like 5 parts. So I started part 3, started as Crusade, and I started watching like from the first episode, and then like I feel this kind of connection to the characters. Like I start, because it's like 47 episodes, and that was actually in the first Corona wave. I was watching it in the first Corona wave, so I had a lot of time.
Well, you had a time.
So I actually felt the time, like I felt the trip, like like they went to this kind of around the world in 80 days. It's the novel Around the World in 80 days. So it was sort of like this, like they started in Japan, they went to India, they went to Pakistan, they went to like Singapore, they went to a lot of countries until they get to Egypt, because they ended up in Egypt at the end of the story. So like they were literally every episode traveling from a country to another, sort of. So like because of that, like I felt the trip, because I was watching every episode and every day, like like one episode a day, and that's it. Like I'm depressed. I'm in Corona time. I'm depressed.
How could you just watch one episode a day? I will just watch a lot of them for a lot of hours.
Because you were in Vienna in the first wave.
I was in Vienna in the first wave. Yes,
it was really depressing. Like when it just happened, it was really really depressing. So I was watching an anime, and then I was like, like when I see like something like, for example, like people dying of disease or something like that, I would nope, nope. Yes,
avoid reality.
Yeah, and people traveling around, I'll be like, I want to travel, man. I want to travel, but like.
Yeah. And even now, you feel like just going out, but you can't. I mean, because we are in Germany right now, the second wave and the lockdown.
Like I heard, like there is, for example, there is not Christmas market, but there is a little bit of Christmas shops opened in airport.
Yes.
I want to go there to check it, but like. Nah.
Not the same.
Yeah, not the same as well, yeah.
Yeah, this Christmas is going to be very sad here. The winter is going to be very gloomy.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move to something that can be a little bit fun. That's a little bit weird question, but I'm gonna ask anyway. What is your favorite episode in an anime?
My favorite episode? Definitely has to be the second episode of Death Note, in which L knows where Light is located. So he televises this criminal, and because of that transmission and that Light was provoked and kills the guy, he knows now that he's in the Kento area. So that was for me the most cliffhanging thing that ever happened to me in an anime. Like, oh my god, I have to watch the next episode. Like, definitely have to watch it.
That's one of the things that actually by time that you start like feeling, the more you watch anime, the more you start to remember. Like I remember the first time I watched like Death Note, I was like shocked. I was like, oh my god.
I was 13, 14 years old when I watched Death Note. Of course, it was an impact for me. Just a great story and the characters and all the plays they had, the psychological fighting they had within L and Light was amazing.
Yeah, like you feel like, oh my god, it's too good. But then the more you start watching anime, you feel like, was it that really good? Like.
I don't want to rewatch it. I want to keep those nice memories alive.
Yeah, that's the thing I wanted to talk about. Like, for example, if there is an anime you watched and you felt like rewatching it is not a good idea.
Well, actually, for Naruto, I have rewatched it recently, and I always laugh and have a nice time, like always. But for example, one of my favorite animes, Blood Plus, I rewatched it recently, like last month, and I still liked it. But I realized the animation, for example, was already old, and maybe the pace was not as fast as I thought. So it was. I mean, I remember it better, of course, at those times.
Like recently, I rewatched Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh.
And really,
yeah,
I watched it too.
And I was like, that's not the show I watched when I was a kid.
I mean, you have a different mentality at that time,
so
you watch it with other eyes.
But it's a little bit funny because that when you watch it now, you feel like children trading card game is gonna save the world. You know, this kind of
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
You know,
That doesn't make any sense, but I mean, you liked it at that time.
I loved it at the time. Of course, I was like, maybe I was like even younger than 14. Maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah, me too.
Let's see. The next question is: how do you prefer to watch an anime, subbed or dubbed?
Again, sorry?
How do you prefer to watch an anime? Do you prefer to watch it subbed or dubbed? You know?
Subbed. Yeah. Not dubbed. I mean, the only
Since
one I
you
have
are-
seen dubbed is, of course, Pokemon because it was on the TV.
Yeah.
But if I have to choose, it of course will be dubbed.
Since you are like learning Japanese now, do you sometimes switch off the subtitle and pretend that you understand everything?
I don't switch them off, but sometimes I look away and I still listen to
Yeah.
some stuff, or I watch the anime, but I try not to look at subtitles. And sometimes I understand some things, but you have to know that in anime they mostly speak in a slang way,
Yeah.
so in
yeah,
the streetwise, so it's not definitely very different from the Japanese I learned in classes, because I learned the formal standard Japanese and not the one that you speak on the streets.
yeah.
So when they are speaking formally, I understand some things, but when they are just talking within friends, it's just very hard to understand.
Our first guest actually in this kind of interview, she was Japanese, Aki Yamada-san, and she even told us like that there is even like in Osaka they have like a really different accent, you know, from like from the her accent. I don't remember where she was from, but like her accent is she said like Osaka was a totally different kind of culture for her as a Japanese. She was like they are completely different, you know.
Yeah, they have their own dialects and some words that they use in different regions.
Yeah.
So that also plays a role in the anime. So it's not easy to get to the point of completely understanding everything you see or you watch in an anime. It will be perhaps easier to read the manga because, for example, those kanji characters, they're always with the reading there, so it's easy to look it up in the dictionary and easier to read.
Yeah. There is another question, since we are the same age, but like probably we started watching anime around the same time when we were kids, and like which kind of anime do you prefer? 70s, 90s, 80s, 2010s, or currently, for example? Like what is, maybe it can be different, like for example story wise, or maybe just by just painting, you know, like, I mean not painting, I mean art style.
Well, I don't have much experience with old animes from before 2000, like 90s, 80s, 70s, since I didn't grow up in that era. From the 90s, 80s, I just know, of course, Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, Evangelion, which are the ones I know. But other than that, I haven't really watched much in that from those years. I mean, the ones I saw during my childhood were mostly 2000 anime. From 2000 to 2010, 12 that I watched them.
For us in Arabic region, we had like we started actually like the first animes we got were actually from the 70s. We actually got some animes from the 70s, end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s, like, you know, like and a lot of them were actually this kind of like super robot animes, you know, like Voltron, you know, like Messenger, you know, the Great Messenger, Grandizer, this kind of anime. Astro Boy, also, I don't know whether you know it or not, like
yes, I mean it's one of the first anime.
Yeah.
Astro Boy.
Also Leo, the White Lion.
I don't know that one.
Kimpa, the White Lion. You know, it's So, however, so we actually got like the first animes we watched in the Middle East were actually these animes, like late 70s, beginning of the 80s animes, and because like at the time, you know, like in order to watch an anime, you watch it on videotapes, you know. You don't watch it on like there is no satellite or anything. and the local channel, they podcast specific kind of animes were like cheap to license, you know. So there is some animes you will never hear from ever,
Yeah.
you know, like, you know. So they were probably the first anime that they came to the Middle East were quite old, like because we grew up in the 90s.
But I think I think you're right. Like maybe from the 70s anime were the ones that were starting to go outside of Japan.
Yeah, exactly. Because it was cheaper to license, you know, cheaper to license. Even the 90s. I don't know about Mexico, but like, you know, this was kind of technology lag between us and like the Japan, you know. For example, like by the time they were like using DVDs or CDs, we were still using videotapes, you know.
Yeah.
So by that time, the anime we got on videotapes, we were still watching. Meanwhile, they were like producing anime on CDs or laser discs, you know. So because of that, like it takes around like 10 years until we caught up to them, you know. So that I
well,
think
at that time, I suppose, but right now it's kind of not at the same time, but the difference is not that much.
The difference
before.
is not that much, and because of the internet, you know immediately when something new happen, you know. But like back then, like you had to, for example, to know someone, for example, who lives in Japan, or for example, for Arab countries, you have to live in Gulf countries, because these were the countries that normally will get because they are rich countries, so they will get the first technology first-handed from Japan or the West, and then it will start coming naturally to the rest of the Arabic countries, you know. And that's why we at that time, like before the internet, we were lagged by like 10 years of anime, you know. So like we were watching the 90s anime when we were like in the 2000s.
Yeah, the same for us.
80 animes when we were in the 90s, and so on. That's why this question exists, because like most of our audience who are at the same age as me, for example, they watched at least one anime from every generation, you know. So like I know I watched one of the 70s, some of the 80s, a lot from the 90s, you know.
Yes.
And of course the 20,000, and probably even I would say like new anime.
The ones we know the most probably from the 2000s.
Yeah. Like most of them actually, like I would say like the 2000, most of the one that like that is sort of modern, I would say, because like you know, like you are already an adult in the 2000, like you are not an adult, but like you mean like, you know, you are a teenager, you are not a kid anymore, you know. So like this kind of animes were like there when you were a teenager, so like, you know, you were changing a little bit, you were growing up, and suddenly you've seen an anime that like you felt it's for you, even though it was a shonen anime. When we look back at this one, I mean like really it's cheesy, you know, but like at the same time, like, because when you think about it in the 2000, like I think 2006 or 2004 was Death Note. Could guess,
yes.
I think around also the same time, I'm not sure.
We were teenagers at that time.
Yeah,
we're starting to be teenagers.
Yeah.
And I mean growing with cartoons normally, and then suddenly watching this kind of anime with better stories and better characters. Of course, they're not the perfect animes. If you watch them right now, of course not. But at the time, it was something very different that really caught you.
Yeah. If there is kind of are you involved in any kind of anime community, or you were involved at some point?
Not really. When I watched anime in my childhood, I was mostly with my group of friends, and most of my friendships were done with other people that loved anime, the same as me. But I was not really into an anime community ever.
Yeah, because there is a question, like, for example, like, what is your favorite anime-related activity? Like, for example, do you like drawing anime, or like playing some music? Do you like to discuss it? Do you like to analyze it, maybe? Something like that.
Well, since I was a child, I have always loved drawing. I was even considering studying arts at some points and animation.
And you into physics?
But yeah, and at the end I studied physics. But I always loved drawing. I took painting classes, I took comic classes. I loved drawing all the time and making my own comics. Even since I was a child, I did my own comics from stories. I really like that. I don't have time anymore, but it's something I would really like to take back.
When I was a kid, actually, as well, I used to do this, but then I started getting bullied because of that, and then I stopped. I was like, people bullying me for this, I will stop doing. That's it. Nobody appreciate my art.
Well, one does it for fun.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, like, did you ever cosplay before?
No, but I have wanted to. In Mexico, in my city, there was this anime convention which was done 2 times a year, and I always wanted to go with a cosplay, but it's very difficult because it's either very expensive or very difficult to make.
Yeah,
So it was not
it's
possible.
a
for
whole
me.
thing. Like we interviewed an Egyptian cosplayer before
Mhm.
in our podcast, and when you talk about it, there is a lot of things goes into it. So like for example, there is like makeup, there is like wigs, there is kind of dresses, and for example, sometimes you have to go to specific kind of like tailor, to make a tailored made suit or tailor made pants,
Yes,
for
or
example, to the specific
armor,
characters.
or
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they
yeah.
use, maybe a sword or
Yeah.
something, and
And he
it's
even told
difficult.
us, like, I have no idea about cosplays because, of
Mhm.
course, I don't cosplay, of course. And there is this kind of archetypes, like there is an armored one, and I forgot the names, but like there is even people who make like an armor, this kind of armor.
Yes,
you've
I've seen.
like Final Fantasy and like this kind of
Yeah, also from video games,
yeah, from
I
video
see
games.
a lot of
Yeah,
them.
I'm not a huge video games player, so I have no idea. I'm not a gamer, so I have no idea what
No, me
kind
neither.
of video games they doing actually. Uh, does anime inspires you to learn Japanese? I think we answered this already.
Uh-huh.
What type of characters do you like more, the hero or the villains?
I like it more when they are antagonists, I think. I'm starting to like more this kind of characters. That they start as normal main character heroes, but they turn out to be anti-hero ones, that they are against everything. I think it's a more interesting development to them.
Yeah, like for me, I actually like start liking the villains because sometimes like
If it's a well-written villain, then yes, it has to be well-written.
that's the thing. That's the thing. What is the most similar anime character to your characters?
I don't think there exists one, because even though they try sometimes to make a realistic character development, a realistic character, they are always end up with some kind of anime archetype of typical default character personalities. So I don't even really identify myself with any of those.
Yeah. Of course, you said like you are not into video games. You are not like a gamer. You said also you are not involved in any kind of anime communities.
Nope.
And the favorite character archetype, did we discuss this? But like, I think it is the same question, right?
Yeah, it's probably the same question. Yeah.
There's a question we discussed yesterday, but like I don't know whether you know how to answer it or not. But like, what is your favorite tropes? Like the trope in a story, like something that you've seen. So what is your favorite cliche, for example?
I really like it. I don't know why, but I like it when there's the main character and it has another two side friends, so it's always like a trio.
Yeah.
3 persons, like typical trope of 3 persons that are the main characters, which works in many animes actually. And I really like it also. I don't know if it's kind of a trope, but when they create their own fantasy world, their own world that's not based on ours, but just something different.
Like, do you prefer like fantasy worlds or like like more of futuristic worlds? Like in science fiction they have this kind of like a future world. Like for example 3,000 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, futuristic.
Or you find like fantasy, which have dragons, magic, and swords and stuff like that. For example.
I will prefer fantasy ones. Yes, because I think that sci-fi or futuristic stuff, I think I enjoy it more in movies rather than in anime.
Yeah.
Even though, for example, I really like Ghost in the Shell, which was kind of futuristic. I really enjoyed that, but other than that,
I think it was cyberpunk. They call it cyberpunk. I'm not sure about this kind of.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Thank you. Um, what is you? Okay, this is the same question. I'm reading it again. Okay, this is a fun question because like
Okay.
we have. Of course, you said you are not involved in any anime community, for example, in Mexico. But like for example, in Egypt, you have this kind of like stigma. I would say not that stigma is quite a strong word, but like we have this kind of like discussion about like what is an elitist and what is like a normie. You know, normie is sort of a term that's used to describe a normal person who have like a normal like not a normal but sort of like
Tastes
a standard
like
taste, you know,
mainstream stuff.
like for example I'm just giving an example. For example, you are a girl, so like you tell me that, oh, I like Sailor Moon, I'll be like, yeah, such a normie thing to do. Because you are a girl, you like Sailor Moon. I'm a guy, I like Dragon Ball Z, you know, this kind of thing.
Yeah, the normal thing.
So this kind, they call it normie. And this kind of elitist, like for example, a girl will be like, no, I don't like it. I like Neon Genesis Evangelion, or like, for example, what was the name of the other game? It was I forgot a lot of elitist animes, like, you know, like some they bring the most obscure anime. Like for example, we have this kind of inside joke. One of our colleagues, he started talking about an anime called Princess Tutu, which is an anime about like you know, a duck that it's a magical girl anime, but it's about a duck that become like a magical girl, you know, sort of. And according to him, it's quite a deep anime, but it's sort of like really obscure. Like I tried to look it up online, and some website I couldn't find it. You know, this is how obscure it is a little bit. And also like it is about a duck that become a magical girl, you know. So it is this kind like.
But I mean, like you said yesterday, is this kind of anime that a normal person wouldn't come across to? Like normally, if you're really into anime, you will just start looking to something else. But as a normal person that just watches the typical mainstream animes, you don't really scratch too much into the depths of anime. You just watch the ones around the surface.
That's basically it. So in Egypt, you have this kind of discussion between the both of them. Like for example, some they call themselves elitist, you know, and they are like, you know, they're like, anime is no longer good. It's all shonen anime, and shonen anime is boring. Blah blah blah.
But it's not all there is. There are lots of anime. Not everything is shonen.
Yeah, but you know, this kind of discussion. Meanwhile, the people who are labeled normie, for example, they are like, they will fall in love with any kind of standard anime. It doesn't have to be even good. Like some animes that's standard, you know. That actually, if you have like an artificial intelligence and you give it all the tropes from all shonen animes, and like you put some shonen animes, it will produce this anime to you. You know this?
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, we have this kind of discussion. Yeah.
Actually, that was also one of the reasons that I stopped watching some anime when I was in my bachelor. I mean, apart from the fact that I didn't have much time, but at the time I really enjoyed shonen anime. But I just started becoming the same thing all over again. The typical shonen character with the typical goal and power-ups and everything. The power of friendship is just, it gets boring.
Because the thing is, like, you are a scientist, you know. So like you know, like normally in normal situation, scientists are sort of the elites of sort of like the community, you know. Scientists and like writers, philosophers, you know, this kind of archetype of people, not archetype, but like this kind of
profile,
yeah. So being a scientist is being like an elite, or sort of like, you are a scientist, you study physics, you study like something that Albert Einstein was working with, you know, or like Max Planck, you know, or like Ernest Abbe, you know, this kind of people who are like, you know,
Albert Einstein will have liked anime.
Yeah. So like the thing is about it, like when you hear like an elitist anime, how do you feel like about it, you know?
I think I feel intrigued to watch it, because I have seen most of the mainstream ones, not all of them, but most of them, and you just feel like watching something else. And more if you're already used to the kind of the kind of stories that anime has, then there's nothing that can surprise you really.
Because the question actually, before we start going into this rabbit hole, the question actually was, what do you think about the animes that are labeled elitist? That's actually one of our colleagues. He put this question as sort of a joke on another colleague because we call him elitist. So it's this kind
I
of
think there are
inside
some
joke
that
for
are,
us.
I suppose there are some that are kind of overrated, but some that are really worth watching. It really depends on it and which one you really consider to be elitist anime, which one doesn't.
There is a question, but I'm not sure whether I should ask or not because I don't approve shipping. I don't approve shipping personally. But we have one of our colleagues, her name is Nada, and she loves it. So there is a question, I guess someone put this question for her. Which anime character do you ship the most?
Okay, this kind of hard. Well, the best partnership I have seen in anime, it was the anime I before mentioned, and Lovely Complex. I think is the most the pair I have liked the most reading, because I don't really read romantic animes or manga because I don't really like how they depict it. It's always this shy girl with the guy and typical
They always
trip
grow
to
up
the beach.
together. They are in a love triangle. Always in a love triangle.
Just the same thing all over again. I really like the relationship, how they manage it in Lovely Complex. But apart from romantic ones, I really enjoyed the one in Nana. I don't know if you know this anime or manga. Nana, it's a josei anime, and I really like how they depict the friendship between the two of them. The two main protagonists is just actually the whole anime and manga it's all revolved in their friendship and how it develops. So I really enjoy that. Nana, so it's very recommendable if you like it.
What is the hardship you faced when you were learning Japanese, for example?
Again?
Yeah, of course you.
No, I mean, can you repeat the question?
Oh, okay. What is the hardship you faced when you were learning Japanese?
All of it. Well, maybe at first was learning the character system because they have two alphabets, hiragana and katakana, so you have to learn them both. And also kanjis because they come from Chinese and they have different ways of reading them. And when Japanese write, they use all of them at the same time. Kanjis, katakana, and hiragana, all in the same sentence. So you really have to know how to read, understand, and really identify all the characters. Also, the grammar is not that straightforward. For example, learning English from Spanish was really easy because the grammar, even though it's different, the same you use the same way of thinking when you are speaking. But in Japanese, you really have to think some other way. I guess it will be the same if I try to learn Arabic.
Is Spanish a Germanic language? I don't know.
It's a Romance language.
Romantic English, so it's a language.
So it's very similar to French, Italian, Portuguese.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Because I was thinking, like, there is, of course, there's this family tree. So for some people, it's easier to move from one language to another. But of course, Japanese is in a whole different.
Yeah, so Japanese is a whole different thing.
What is the difference between the anime community in Mexico and anime community around the world? Even though you are not involved, but probably you know.
Well, I think anime is a pretty huge thing in Mexico, for example, and I could say in all Latin America. There are some, we all grew up with Dragon Ball, Pokemon, Naruto, and I think anime right now there is more normalized. I think before, some years ago, it was more like, oh, you are otakus, and it was always this kind of bothering people like they are otakus or you don't take a shower or something. Like this stereotype of the people that watch anime. But right now I think it's more normalized and even more people that are not really considered otakus themselves or weebs watch anime, and I think it's become part of the everyday life now.
That's actually one of the things that I noticed. Like I told you that, like when I was a kid, like I was bullied for like
Mm-hmm.
watching an anime, like, oh, and I was a kid, like I was like
Yeah, yeah, me
13
too.
years old or something like that, and I was like, I was bullied because I was watching shonen anime, which is like, yeah, what, like, you know,
You
and
even felt like you don't want to admit that you like anime. You felt like, oh yes, I like this and like that. You couldn't say that to your other friends because they
yeah,
would
yeah,
judge you at that time.
yeah, and I told you I was drawing my own kind of like, I wouldn't say manga, it was like just like some scratches, but like
Mm-hmm.
I was drawing something, I was drawing a story, and then people start when they start bullying me, I was like, nope, it's not
Mm-hmm.
happening. I'm not gonna draw.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, that could be a thing that affected me. Meanwhile, now it's too cool to be an anime fan. Like you are cool
You
now,
think so?
Like it's a little bit funny when you are like, like. Actually, we had a comment that say Nana is a good anime. I have no idea,
Yes.
but I believe
One
you.
of my favorites too.
I believe you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very good.
Yeah.
It's
So.
so sad because it's incomplete. Well, the manga is incomplete
Mm,
because the author got sick and never finished it later. So it just left at a very huge cliffhanger in the manga, and the anime had to end it right there. And now we'll never know how it ends. It's just very sad.
yeah, there is a question from Nargis. Could you ask her about openings? The best one, for example.
Hmm. I really, really like the opening of Tokyo Ghoul, Rebel. It's the kind of opening that I was watching the episodes and I just never skipped it. I watched it the whole time for all the episodes. That one I really like the song. Of course, Silhouette in Naruto.
You said
That
Bluebird
opening.
when we were talking yesterday, I guess, or not. I
Mm,
don't remember
no,
yesterday.
Bluebird. No, it's just I hear the song everywhere, so it's just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
no.
For me, it was this kind. I don't remember which one, but it was, I think, the third opening of Full Metal Alchemist. You know.
Brotherhood or the other one.
Brotherhood, of course. I didn't watch it.
The third one was I don't remember. So the first one is again. Then the second one I don't remember the name. Third one is not the one from Tsukima Switch.
I don't remember, but it was like, tan tan taran tan 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 taran tan taran taran tan 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 tan. Maybe the number is wrong. I don't know. Maybe
I don't recognize your
the
melody.
my melody. I have it on my maybe my SoundCloud. Maybe I can check it later.
Yeah, but actually, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood has really nice openings too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, very very nice.
Yeah. If there is an anime that she wants to rewatch.
Hmm. I'm not really sure I want to rewatch the anime because, like I said before, the animes I watched, most of them were in my during my teenage years, and I think I'm going to ruin them if I watch them again. I mean, I'm 26-year-old now, so I may see them in a very different light now.
Yeah. Could you ask her about her favorite anime movies and favorite director as well?
Hmm. I have seen lots of movies.
Mm.
I think one of my favorites is one Wolf Children. I don't know if some of you know it. It's kind of a long movie, but it's very touching, and it begins and you think that it's going some way, and then suddenly it changes everything from something that happens at the beginning of the story, and it's a very sweet movie. You will really like it, and also the animation is very nice. Also, the movies from Makoto Shinkai are pretty great. I like them because of course it takes some fantasy elements, but it shows human relationships in a very realistic way, which I like kind of melancholic way, and the animations are really beautiful in there. And of course, I have seen many Ghibli movies which I enjoy. I think
Yeah.
my favorite one, maybe Princess Mononoke. I think.
We were discussing also like you like Kimi no Na wa, the movie, right?
Who doesn't?
Yeah, that was a good one. Last question, I guess. If there is no other question in the comment, that will be the last question.
Mhm.
Since you have a tandem partner, a Japanese tandem partner, how does Japanese feel when you tell them that you are an anime fan? Do they appreciate it, or do they feel that all the stereotypes then? something like that.
I think they kind of expect it. But even though for them it's also a very normal thing, anime, that when you tell them, oh yeah, I have seen this and this anime, they're like, oh wow, great, and I can recommend you more. They're happy to recommend you and happy to know
I
that you
know.
like it.
I have a colleague. She's Japanese, and
Mm-hmm.
she hates when someone that he loves anime. Or like
Well,
if you start speaking to her with some, like of course she knows me, but the thing is, like I started to I try to be friendly, so I said like I used some Japanese like phrasing, like for example like Ohio,
no, but those are normal. That's not anime ones.
Yeah, it's normal, but like she gets super annoyed. I don't know why, but she was annoyed and she didn't like it, and I was like, okay.
I mean, of course, in Japan there are also people that don't like anime. So maybe you just came across one.
Everyone is correcting me and they say it's again. The one I was singing is
again. Yes.
Maybe I don't know.
That's the first one from Yui.
I don't remember the name, but I know the melody. That's like I have a musical ear, so I can pick up a melody, but like I don't remember the name, of course. So that
it's
was
a very good opening.
Yeah. So I guess that was the last question we have. Do you have anything else to say or you want to say?
Well, I don't know what you would like to hear else. You already asked me
That's
about
actually
everything.
not a question for me, that's a question for the audience, Like,
Well,
Yassine is asking, would you watch Princess Tutu?
It depends. I will have to look it
At this
up
point,
and see
he's
the
just
premise.
playing a campaign. Everyone, please watch his Princess Tutu, He's making a campaign. Everyone should watch his Princess Tutu.
But what kind of anime is it? Like, kind of
I have no
thriller
idea.
or psychological?
Like, he gave it a better ranking. Like, he in my anime list, it's higher than Attack on Titan.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he's this kind of elitist, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but elite doesn't mean that it's good.
Maybe it's not good for you, maybe, yeah.
I don't know, it depends on the taste.
He say Wolf Children is pretty popular. Don't worry about it.
Okay, great. I really recommend it, so watch it.
Yeah. So if there is no further comments and no further questions, I guess that should be the end of it. Like, I think we took enough of your times. Like, I know you are quite busy, and also I know probably like you are taking from your relaxation time, but maybe you can relax doing something else.
I could watch anime.
Yeah,
Actually,
exactly.
watching right now Parasite the Maxim, which a friend of mine recommended me, and I have just watched the first half of it, like, because it's just 24 episodes, so it's not such a long anime, and it's pretty good.
Yeah,
right now I really liked it. The opening is also very great.
I watched it really quite long time ago, actually. Not quite long a time. I mean, what year did it come out? Which year?
I don't really know.
Yeah, because I watched it in the same
already.
year, I guess, like after it finished by like maybe like I don't remember actually, but after it finished by a while I watched it. But anyway, yeah. So probably that's it for today. And yeah, like there's no other questions. So like, thank you for your time and thank you for joining our podcast.
And thank you for inviting me. I know I was hesitant at first because I'm a very shy person, typical anime person, right? That likes anime, that's very shy.
Yeah, but you actually did quite great, actually. Like, for a shy person, you did quite great, Like normally when someone say I am a shy person, I expect okay, that will be awkward, But like.
No, I mean I'm shy because I get anxious before. Also, when I do presentations and things like that, I get super anxious. But on Sci Start, it's just easier. It's just the before feeling of that.
Yeah, but you did good, and I think everyone who watched they enjoyed their time, and it was nice having you since also we didn't meet for quite some time.
Yeah, what was that? Last time I saw you was on your birthday.
Yeah, so that was in September. So yeah.
Yeah, quite a
Yeah.
long time. With Corona, I think it's even more difficult. This is the situation in Germany, guys.
Yeah, this is the situation in Germany. Like Egypt is a wholly different situation, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, even though we're in the same city, it's kind of difficult to meet. And right now, for example, I actually wanted to have the interview in his place, like not have it like remotely,
Yeah.
because I thought it would be easier to just talk in person.
It will actually be also more fun, you know. Like since I
Exactly.
started the podcast, I never did it with someone that we are in the same room, you know. Like it's always online, so that could be a different dynamic.